Yeah.
It's always new seats. Because you don't have, you know, if you think about it, if you get into a district, you don't wanna have it contingent upon the next year or the next year, you know,
Right.
you know.
All right, it's 5:30. Call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Proof of giving public notice. Notice was given. We have all board members present, so we will not need to do any type of virtual participation. There are no public comments this evening, so we'll go right into committee reports. We'll begin with PC.
1 second here. FPPC.
We had met on the 16th of January, and we talked about the personnel report, and we have some subs we're working on, and some janitorial is our big need right now, but they're with some headway coming through those. But that's where you'll see one hire and then 2 janitorials that have left on that report. The second piece is we went over the Neola 35.1 update. This update is in 2 parts. The part that was brought to the meeting was just your 2026. It was all those little minors that the administration can update. And as a courtesy, they brought that to us just to take a look at, and that's what they updated. The other part of it that is board updated or board changes would need to be made are what we were given to read for the next meeting, which will be in February. So that will be coming to the February meeting to review those. The next piece was a personal communication device that was brought in ways we might save money with either contracts or phones. We'd asked that we go back and take a look at other ways of who uses the phones and what the uses are for, and the district was gonna look into that a little bit more to give us more of a feedback or a proposition to the board to look at. So that should be coming in February as well, hopefully. And the last piece, and I don't wanna dive too much into it because I know there's an update down the road, but we talked about AI again. There was a couple things that I thought was interesting, and I know we are working with our Danielle over at Sussex, sorry.
She's from Pewaukee originally, but she's now a consultant.
She worked with us on our goals that we had here, and she had a really interesting thing to say about our AI interest. So I don't know if you're able to repeat her.
Just on how we're talking about how we do not want to lose our instructional practices and our art of teaching, and to hear our staff and our administration talk about the importance of the model that we have in place that works so well here, and interested in using and working with AI, but not having it take over what we do well. And so how that can be part of that conversation. And so we continue to have that conversation, and she was really appreciative of that. And then we also talked a little bit with this group. I met with her even just again last week, and I'll see her again on Friday. Met with admin today. I mean, it's just been a lot of really great, warm conversations surrounding this topic and trying to do what's best for kids. And I think we had some really great, what does that rollout look like for our community? And to stay ahead of that for our community so there's not panic. And so we're building that, but right now the main focus is just our administrative team kind of getting our heads wrapped around it and taking a look at philosophically, where are we as leaders and as educators moving forward. So there's lots more to come in that realm, and we're excited to bring that to you once we have that ready to go.
And there's a foundation of an outline for the district. And once that's finalized, we'll be able to look it over and then hopefully submit to the board to look at as well. So good things coming soon.
Great. Okay, thank you. Finance.
Okay, so we met a couple weeks back. We did our normal go through spending, and spending was on point. We went through the financials. If anybody looks closely, the only thing that's kind of goofy, it's not goofy, but we are technically halfway through the year when we get to December on our fiscal year. We're not halfway through on, like, you look at salaries and stuff, because the way teachers are paid, they get paid kind of a lump sum for the summer in June. Is that right? In June?
Yeah, they get a
we're
multiple
like-
checks in June.
That's, that's our biggest expense, and we're at like 40-some%. I think we'd be at 50, but we're generally on budget on everything. We talked a little bit about the janitorial stuff as well, because that's kind of slowed down the ability to do any kind of capital improvements, and just, I think Greg is usually pretty good about always having projects and getting stuff done, and it's been a challenge recently because we've had such turnover in that position that he's kind of putting out fires and covering for people and things of that nature, so that's been a challenge. And then the last thing we spent a lot of time on, which Patrick's going to talk about in his piece, is that we have had higher than anticipated costs in special education, and there's been a couple of situations that have gotten more expensive than anticipated. So that's probably going to be over budget on the special education stuff. I think Patrick and Tina and everybody are doing their best to try to mitigate some of those costs, or at least minimize them. But they are gonna be higher, so there's probably gonna be a budget revision. But we're looking for ways to save in other areas, so I don't think there's gonna be anything presented tonight to necessarily modify the budget, but it's more a heads up. I mean, fortunately, we budgeted and taxed to the full authority. We've got a cushion, so to say, in terms that we budgeted to put money into our capital fund. From my perspective, and I'm one of 5, I would think if we get to that budget revision, that would probably be where we'd pull from, if we had to pull from other spots, but we'll go in detail on that, I think, in the finance piece.
Yeah, I can talk more about that.
So, and that was it.
Alright, thanks, Matt. Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Here again, I'd be looking for, unless anyone has a request to pull something out, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda for items A through E as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Alright, any discussion on the motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Before we go to the next, can we read the donation?
Yes, thank you, please do.
Issue here.
It was
a-
anonymous.
It was an anonymous donation?
Anonymous donation to the musical program.
Thank you.
For, I think, $425, so if somebody's watching, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for reminding me of that, Chris. All right, on to new business. Discussion and decision on 26-27 open enrollment seats.
So, based on what, on the special education side of things, our Director of Student Services did a comprehensive review of caseloads, which involves weighting students. Not every student is created equal in their needs, so they break down each student by how intensive their needs are. More intensive the need, the higher the weighting. Based on the weightings and what we currently have, we'll be accepting 0 special education students as part of our open enrollment seats for next year. Again, we do consider class sizes, staffing levels, and again, the needs of the students that we presently have when we make that decision. Any questions on the special education side of things?
That's pretty typical to have 0.
Yeah,
1 to 0.
1 to 0 is pretty typical, yeah. Again, the last thing we wanna have to do is bring on additional staff to service open enrollment students, so we always work within the existing model. And that's again why we use the weighting of the current students and look at how they fit within that existing staffing model. As far as the open enrollment seats, if you look at the board memo that I sent as a follow-up to my initial memo, they kind of just started that planning process and doing some projections. I looked at a number of factors. One obviously is what is current enrollment, what is our current staffing model look like, what are our targeted student to teacher ratios for each grade band, and based on that, I have, or the district has put together a set of open enrollment seats for the 26-27 school year. Just to clarify, these are new seats. These are new seats only, so if a student is already open enrolled in, they are not part of this allocation of seats. It's a common misconception, but the idea is a family open enrolls in, the last thing we wanna do is have undue movement. They wanna have some reassurance that if we're gonna open enroll and make that kind of a decision for a family, there's assurance that that student can continue. So they become just kind of part of one of our enrolled students. So kindergarten or K4, we will allocate 20 open enrollment seats. Kindergarten, 12, first grade, 14, second grade, 5, third grade, 11, fourth grade, 10, fifth grade 10, sixth grade 12, seventh grade 14, and then eighth grade 16. Again, a couple things to clarify on this. We can always reevaluate later if we want to add more seats. We can do so after July 1 and accept additional open enrolled students. We could also, if we take a look and say our projections were a little bit off and maybe we have students that are moving into the area and are going to be part of our resident population here and we don't have as many seats, we can always accept less than what we have listed too. So there is some flexibility in that. But based on our projections right now, that's the number of seats we will have available for 26-27.
So we can adjust down?
We can.
Oh, I didn't realize we could
Yep.
adjust down.
Just if we're not within that, if we
Now-
designate 0.
Now, if we adjust down, like if we cap it, we have capped it for the rest of that year.
So later it can't be back up.
Later, it cannot be adjusted up. But if we were to say, hey, we had initially allocated 20 seats, we are at 14, and we're gonna cap it at 14, that means that cap is solid through the rest of that school year.
So for example, we have 4 grade levels currently who we have class sizes that are where they need to be and we wouldn't want them to have any more. And so we said we will not accept any more of those grade levels going forward to the rest of the year. It will reset next year, which is why you always want to make sure that you're giving ample space to allow for students to come in. We sat down and went through the staffing plan to look at the ratios of what we have for staff in the classes that we teach and what we felt as professionals in the business, what acceptable. We don't have caps here at this district on class sizes, but we've experienced some class sizes that are too high. And so in our opinion, so we have kept them down this year, but have allowed for the space that we feel our staff and district can.
Is there any risk of, if we say 20 in one grade, and we get to 14 in that example, and then we say, that's it, we're gonna stop. Is there any risk of somebody appealing to DPI for?
For
Access?
placement in,
Yeah,
no,
for
because we
placement.
no.
As long as we have justification, like if we tell them, and there's no hard and fast rule, but if we say, our target student to teacher ratio for this grade level is
Okay.
X, and we've met that,
Okay.
but then we're capping again, just to clarify, for the remainder of the year, we couldn't allow another student or a different student in later on.
And a scenario like that would only probably occur if we had some students move into the district, right? So you say you have 20 and we had 6 move in, then we would say probably at 14, we're not going any further with that, and that's why we would cap that
Yeah.
down.
What's our current enrollment kindergarten to 7th right now? Because 8th grader obviously doesn't count next year.
It's kindergarten to 7th.
Yeah, or what, I mean, so it looks like we're saying 124 new seats. Last year, from what you had sent, we approved 70 and only got 46, right? So I'm reading that right.
Correct.
And that's on, so then this 124 would be, if we had all, what do we have, 112 this year?
That sounds right.
So that would be 236 if all 112 new open enroll and all current enrolled stayed? Am I like looking at that right?
Yeah. Again, we do look at the staffing plan.
Right, no,
So-
I get that.
We're not like, we're not gonna overextend ourselves or put our current students in a compromising situation where student to teacher ratios would be outside of our comfort zone.
How do we read the chart? I don't quite follow the chart provided. It's not A plus B equals C in the third column necessarily. Like the first one, K4 says, first column says projected enrollments, 72.
Oh, you're looking at the non-arrowhead one.
No, you're looking at the new one.
Looking at what's ever attached to.
Yeah,
Email.
focus,
Yeah, so see the 92, your top doesn't.
yeah, you're right.
How does it go? Is it
Shoot,
20 plus 70, 92?
Oh, yeah.
Math This might not be
It's like
mine.
8 says 133 and then 16 in the middle column and then
Yep.
still 133.
Let me pull up my actual copy and I'll update it on the,
Got it, okay, I was like,
give me 1 second.
You know, while he's doing that, a question for you.
Sure.
So the only grade where I had a question was on K4. If the student-to-teacher ratio is 18:4, is that the desired or that's the anticipated?
That's as high as we'll go for 4K.
Yeah.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is it almost seems like if projected was 72 and we're opening 20, that would mean hiring a new teacher potentially.
Not high, so we started, when I first was on board here, we had 5 sections of 4K. We have reduced down to 4 because our enrollment has gone down in 4K. That's the true statement for everybody in the area.
Right.
So we are hopeful, and we already are receiving information from families now to open enroll in to our 4K programming. So we're hopeful that with our marketing and all of the wonderful things that we're doing in our staff, that an individual who is currently on staff will be able to teach that section.
Oh, okay, so it's
Yeah.
anticipating not
Base-
having to do a new.
No, it wouldn't be adding.
For that to work, that means we're below our 18 student.
Yep.
So, right, there's
room in.
there's cushion already
Got it.
built in as the grade moves up.
do we need to worry about early childhood with that teacher though? Or do we have numbers for that program? Cause I'm assuming I'm thinking of the right person, that she does half day of the early childhood and half day of 4K right now. So if we didn't have early childhood students, then she could do
Yeah,
both
we
2
would-
sessions?
Yeah, I'm sure that at North they would figure that out. I mean, that is not my world. I just try to figure out.
No, I get that, but I'm just
But
saying,
yeah.
do we have to worry
We
about
would-
early
no,
childhood with?
No, we wouldn't have to worry about anything. We'll
Okay.
figure out whatever we need to do for kids.
Just gonna update this table for us all to review.
And is that the first column, so if I just take 8th grade, it says projected enrolled is 133. Does that mean right now in 7th grade, we have 133 students? And you just
No.
moved it up?
No, we don't. That's something got transposed here, and I'm trying to figure that out right now with my data.
I mean, for the board, the thing that jumps out at me, if you look at that first column, is just, you know, they talk about declining enrollment. Like, there doesn't seem to be an end in that the next 8 years.
Well, it does, though, I mean, if you look back at,
Every number goes down. I mean, you start at one, you know, you're in
Yeah.
the teens and then
but I mean,
everything gets
4K is
lower.
not it's not like mandatory, so there are quite
Yeah,
a
but
few
you're-
kids that probably don't go.
No, I don't but I mean, you get below 100 in 2nd grade, 1st grade,
Yeah.
kindergarten, and we're, well above 100 in all the others, so it's, you know.
We do have 133 at 7th grade starting.
Yep, we do, and I'm pulling up.
Is there a biggest class right now? 7th graders?
I believe so, at least in the upper grades.
I feel like I remember that from picture day.
A lot of 7th graders.
Paste that in here.
What would, if we were at full capacity in all of our classrooms, do you know how many kids there is?
All I know is this building used to be like 600 students in it. I mean, that's what, from Maureen's
Okay.
memory.
I mean, I get that also comes with a lot of other decisions too, but I'm just curious how many.
600.
Well, we
It's
had like a house system, so you had 2 houses. So you had double teachers for each.
And we're less than
content.
400 now, down to 3rd,
Yeah.
that's 600 feet.
Okay.
But I mean, I remember last night Stone Bank was saying that they were at 4 something and then they went down to 2 in the like 7 years that one of them's
No,
been there.
I think it's a
Yeah.
demographic
Yeah.
thing for this area basically.
Yeah, the census is absolutely down. I forget what it was last year, but I'm waiting to see it again this year. It's declining. Just from families.
And I think there's 2 pieces to this, right? There's the right sizing for what comes in and not trying to go grab, but I think also at this moment in time, there's a lot of unrest even in the districts. And we're doing something really well, then the ability to come in here and have that opportunity for the kids and have the opportunity to do things in this district that they're not able to do in other ones is a big plus for us. So excited to see the numbers, even though some of them look like we're adding another teacher, we're just keeping them the same amount.
Right.
Alright, I'm gonna add the.
And if we were ever on that bubble, we would obviously have a conversation about it, I mean, we're not gonna just decide to hire a teacher. We would have to come back to here and go, okay, we're kind of on that bubble in second grade, and if we bring on one more or two more students, we're gonna have to open up another class, and I will say, if, that kind of stuff starts to happen, then we just have to look at sheer space, because North, I know, doesn't have extra classrooms to put kids, and I don't know where you're at South, I don't think you've got that much extra space either.
I mean, if we ever had to, we could talk about adding sections, but we're very comfortable with what we currently have.
Yeah, with those 5 sections, for sure. When we have to push into that
It's been a
6th,
long time.
then that follows all, then that becomes a thing too, so.
So if you refresh in board docs, you can look at what I put in there.
Did you say in board docs or email?
We're done.
In board docs, or I could send it to you via email, or I could just read.
Some of
It's not, I got it.
Take it a moment here.
It's not as pretty of a document, but the numbers are correct. I had 2 tables and one of the rows got transposed to the other.
Okay, so we don't wanna take any in 8th grade.
Correct, I'm gonna go through each grade again.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so, can you guys see that now?
Yep.
Yeah, so for K4, the 20 seats is accurate. That brings the ratio in right around 18, which is our target. For kindergarten, we have 8 seats, which brings us in again, same general ratio, about 18. 6 seats for first grade, 14 seats for second grade, 23 seats for third grade, 13 for fourth grade, 9 seats for fifth grade, 5 seats for sixth grade, 16 seats for seventh grade, and then you're correct. That 8th grade class is that big class, so there are indeed 0 seats for 8th grade.
Okay.
So that total is 114. My apologies for the confusion on that.
So we basically need to prove this and then you have to fill out whatever to post this.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions?
We would have to be specific on what those seats are, and then as well as the 0 seats open, we'll have to do be very specific on that wording as well, but.
Yeah.
If we decide to vote that way.
You can't just say us.
No, he did just read them off. He did just read them off.
He did.
Let's see.
We'll let you guys make a motion.
Yeah, we want, especially for special education, we want the actual number of spaces and the case law established as well.
Okay, so then at this point, we'd be looking for a motion to approve the 26-27 open enrollment seats as newly presented with updated numbers
Yeah, 114 seats.
for the 114 total seats.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on those seats or the motion itself? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, on to superintendent report.
And then a motion for the 0 seats for the,
Yeah, Matt, once you,
A separate one?
for the special education.
Oh, special education, thank you. Yep.
a motion to approve 0 special education seats for next year.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries for 0 special education seats for next year. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you.
Now we're on to the superintendent report.
Yes, so district updates first. I just wanna say just a quick shout out to this board. The level of appreciation that I and my colleagues and our 8th grade staff and students have for you, for being all in. I think it's important to have a board that's all in on everything that's going on in the schools, and this board does that, so I appreciate that. We had our first round of 8th grade capstone presentations and interviews that took place this week, and the board came in and interviewed and listened and had great conversation with our 8th graders. And I've never been so proud of a group of young people and adults working together and seeing that in full fruition as we were this week. So ultimately, we all know that the Portrait of a Graduate is really focused on that 8th grade graduate, and what does that look like at Hartland-Lakeside, and what do we as adults in the room and as the experts feel that an 8th grader should have when they graduate from here. And so we started there and built it backward, and what they shared with the board was all about them, all about me. So who I was, who I am currently, and who I'd like to be. A lot of the focus for the kids afterward and their reflection, and even some of their reflection with this team was, gosh, I've never really stopped to take a step back and look at what my future might look like, instead of just living in this one little moment in time. And then I think to bring that further through, today I met with the administrative team, and Sarah brought the score sheets that you all had filled out in the comments, and Dave and Heather were there. And Dave and Heather are longtime principals in this district and employees, and they're reading through them, and the rest of us are all hullabaloo, and you can just see them just looking at the papers and reading about them, and there was just this heartwarming smile and feel, because they know those kids from when they were little, and now they see this into full fruition and to who they've become and what they're saying and what they're writing. And it was a beautiful, emotional moment for all of us to be able to go, wow, this is great, and some thought there to share with the staff, who also were vital in that growth process. So talking about how we share that out with the rest of our school community. So again, just your support and your care enough to show up and be there. I don't know that you know how rare that is. So thank you for that and your continued support of that. And then the other piece that you may notice out on our social media, we've got this great wellness initiative happening within our food service, and really trying to beef that up, and the vegetables and the fruit, and trying to make sure those pieces all make sense and be creative about it. And we had just a great around the world in 80 trays, which was really sweet, and the students mostly loved the strawberry milk. That was their big favorite this week, which is just all homemade goodness from fresh strawberries and milk. And so just a big shout out to Chartwells for giving us those opportunities and really digging deep to provide better opportunities for student health on there. So without further ado then, I'm gonna go ahead and ask my team to be here. I've got a whole group. We've talked a lot about this understanding of AI and where we're at with, I'll let them kind of get set up while we talk through the intro on this. We really don't want to put computers and devices and things in front of students without talking to them about what it means and what's your digital footprint and what does it mean to be a good citizen online, and what you write and what you put online stays with you, and do you want that for yourself, and all of those pieces. And so this group has been working tirelessly through the Portrait of a Graduate to really highlights, and through our strategic plan, frankly, to highlight the importance of digital safety, citizenship, and what we're doing kindergarten through 8th grade. So it's not just middle school taking a look at it, we're introducing it from a very early stage, and we've got Lisa, Allie, and Sarah here today, all teach different areas of this grade level or oversee it, and then of course Mr. Risch is here as well. So from there, Sarah, I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it away.
All right, yeah, so we're here to just tell you the update on digital citizenship and how it's looking mainly 3.8 right now, but our plans for kind of building the foundation even earlier, which we'll talk about. So just the why, I think, just making sure we understand why we're teaching digital citizenship, and this quote is from DPI, and we thought it was important. So safeguarding children online stands as a fundamental objective for school districts, aligning with the Wisconsin Digital Learning Plan and the Wisconsin Information and Technology Literacy Standards. In today's world, this is the most powerful one. Technology is an integral part of students' lives and is essential for all of us to ensure their secure and responsible handling of digital assets. So again, that responsibility, and it's a team effort, that's for sure. And then also I just wanted to say that we have our long-range library plan, and these goals support some of our building instructional partnerships. The specific goal of building instructional partnerships, specifically with informational literacy, digital citizenship, and the active use of technology. So the topics that we are hitting on with the students are the 2 standards, which Wisconsin students navigate the digital world safely and responsibly, and then Wisconsin students ethically explore digital spaces. So those are the 2 standards. And then DPI also has these topics that we are hitting on: age-appropriate content, cyberbullying, screen time balance, digital footprint, digital relationships, open communication, privacy and security, safe gaming, and social media. So those are all recommended by Wisconsin DPI that we're pulling our stuff from. And then just so you know, the resources that we're using is Common Sense Media, Cyber Civics, Be Internet Awesome, and Self-Created Lessons for Practice. And these are all recommended from DPI. So that's what we're using. So I'm gonna pass it off to Lisa, and she's gonna talk about 3rd grade.
Well, thank you for letting us come in and give you a brief overview of our digital citizenship program in the library. So this year I've been teaching 3rd grade, and we've been primarily using Cyber Civics and the Common Sense Media. Our goal is to give students tools to make thoughtful and responsible choices online before habits are fully formed. So as we began, we noticed that there is a wide range in students' experience online. So some students are already spending a great amount of time online with very few limits, while others have technology-free homes. So the range is very noticeable when you start talking to the kids. However, one thing that really is a common thing between all of the kids is that they have very little foundation or understanding about the concepts of what it means to be online and what it even is to be online. Some of them really think just being on a computer is online and don't know how to make any comparisons once they get there. So because of this, we intentionally began with our Cyber Civics, which kind of takes a step back and gets a common framework for the kids where they talk about values that they're already very familiar with in the classroom and in life, such as kindness, responsibility, cooperation, self-discipline. And this year we tied that to the portrait of a graduate and kind of looped in how all that came together, and then looked at how that would work online for them and what the differences are. And it really helped them recognize that digital spaces bring new challenges and require much more intentional decision making on their part. So we also use Common Sense Media. This is the 3rd grade sequence, however I did have to go back to 2nd and 1st to kind of catch them up. But this would be the goal going forward. And it covers things such as safe passwords, what's okay and not okay to share online, digital footprints, or the fact that online actions are permanent, whereas in today's world, you can make a mistake and it's really forgotten quickly in the real world, but online, those things stay potentially forever. So, and we're also beginning to introduce the idea that many digital platforms are designed to keep users engaged for as long as they can and very monetarily incentivized to do so. So our goal is not to overwhelm students or create fear, but we want students to understand that they have control and they can make safe, thoughtful choices about how they spend their time online and how they present themselves online. So this is the strong foundation we're trying to build in 3rd grade, and then I will let Ellie talk about the shared form of it.
Alright, so I teach the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade kind of going forward with the digital citizenship piece, and this is my first year in the library, but the past 7 years I've taught 3rd grade at South, so I'm familiar with a lot of those students and kind of where they're coming at from what they understand about technology and what kind of the gaps are. So primarily with 4th and 5th grade, we've been starting from the ground up and building on these 6 kind of foundations from Common Sense Media. Each one of the lessons is like 15 to 20 minutes. It comes with slides, a video, an activity for them to do, or something that I'll supplement, that I'll create, that I'll have them kind of put it into practice. So it's really nice. They're very engaging. They're very good conversations and discussions that we have, and a lot of things that I'm learning about what they do or do not know about the internet. So there is a quick little video, it's like 1 minute, from their website that just kind of gives a little bit of an overview. It should be linked on here. Hover it over here. Oh, there it is.
The digital world is moving fast. For today's students, that means new opportunities and new challenges we never imagined. But kids and teens shouldn't have to face this moment alone. Introducing the Digital Literacy and Wellbeing Curriculum from Common Sense Media. It includes expanded topics like AI, design tricks, and influencer culture, flexible lessons with fun, play-based activities, and a human-centered approach with kids' mental health in mind. Plus, support for schools and interactive family activities and resources. The curriculum is created for and by teachers, research-backed, and 100% free for educators everywhere. Their world is digital, their well-being is human. You can give them the skills and mindsets they need to thrive.
So like Lisa shared with the 3rd grade, this is kind of an overall lesson sequence for 4th grade. Up to this point, we've gone through lessons 1 through 8 in 4th grade. So we usually do it once a week. I see them for an hour a week total. Half of that's library skills, and the other half of that is the digital citizenship and just online, using Google Slides, using different platforms, searching databases, how to, browse the library, all that kind of stuff as well. So this is just a small piece of it, but I think it's really important for them to kind of, see going forward what's kind of their online presence and what that's going to be in the world. So yeah, our kind of goal for the rest of this year is to get through the rest of those. Some of them are shorter, so we can kind of combine them here and there, but lots of really great topics for them to be learning. And then just a really quick, insider look at a lesson. This is a 5th grade lesson that we did last week on their risk online. So we've been talking about scams and scam calls and scam emails, and how do you notice if something doesn't seem right. So they always have a lesson goal, what are we working on doing today, and then have a lot of discussion questions weaved throughout, which the kids do a really good job of. And then it will give us some vocabulary, and then we have an action item, so they have to look at this and they have to pick out what are the things in this email that kind of indicate that it's a scam, can you tell me, and then we kind of share out from there. So then we kind of discuss, okay, what are the red flags here, why do those things show that this might be a scam, what should you do? Yeah, lots of really great kid-friendly ways to talk about it, and they're very smart. They know a lot about more things than they should sometimes, but it's really, really nice to just kind of take them through that. We always end kind of like with a summary. So what is the goal I want you to take away from today? So we talk about warning signs and red flag feelings. What can I do when I'm online and I see something that doesn't look right? Another thing that we've kind of been using is, if you remember highlights from when you were little or your kids were little, they have a partnership with Google where they have a special edition magazine that is just on digital citizenship. So it's got the stories, the games, the activities inside of it, but they're all focused on being online, but it's nice to do it in a way that's not online, so they're not like practicing all of it on their computers, which is great. So yeah, that's just kind of one of the 5th grade lessons. They all look pretty similar across the grade levels. The sequencing from grade level to grade level kind of builds on it each year, so they do cover some of the same topics just as refreshers. So
Really go a little deeper.
yeah.
I'm noticing with the middle school stuff.
So along with the Highlights magazine that Google put out as well, this was another one of the recommendations from DPI, is almost like a video game. It's called Interland, and each one of the worlds has a different purpose. So as we progress through the lessons in Common Sense Media, we tie them into these 4 key components of the internet awesome. And each game, they have to answer questions like, okay, you got an email that asks for your password, what should you do? And then there's like choices, and then if they get the correct answer, they move forward in the game. They're just fun little action pieces that the kids, like to do to kind of put it into practice. And then I'll turn back over to Sarah to talk about the middle school.
Just give you a quick update on middle school. So we've got this advisory time, we have graduate time, we have ComArts, which this fits into. So I just kind of broke it up into kind of where kids are getting things, but advisory, they're talking about privacy, personal information, a lot of the same things, just going a little deeper, they're hearing it again. They have, they're developed in technology even more, so they have kind of a new context to be thinking about these things. Phishing, respectful behavior, misinformation, screen time and mental health, and then boundaries. And then in ComArts, we really focus on the research piece, so using search engines, effectively finding reliable sources, finding balanced and fair research, looking at both sides before you make a decision, and then plagiarism and citing sources. And then we've got our digital marketing class that also hits on this. So 6th grade is getting just understanding more of that safe and unsafe behavior, and then presenting and communicate digital safety. 7th grade digs into more ethical things as they're creating their projects, and then 8th grade, same thing, more of the ethical things, and like if you are creating something online, are you taking someone else's work and just thinking through those? So that's an overview, but you can see this in action here. 6th graders created online safety infographics. So one did how to protect your information, another group did how to make a strong password, and then this one I love, the 5-step process to making screen time go down. So kids actually are giving other kids suggestions. So that's always fun to see. And then in 8th grade, they made ethical influence content checklist. Because influencing is like a big thing, I don't know a lot about it, but it's their world. So like influencers have to think about things and make sure that what they're doing is ethical. So just to end, we have thought about what our next steps are, because again, this is year 1 of really putting this all together. We're being a lot more strategic with it now. And where we would like to head. So Lisa, you want to talk a little bit about K2?
So in noticing the wide range of where students are at, I think it would be very beneficial, and we have touched on it a little bit in the library, just showing students how to use databases that are curated and secure, and how to use the library catalog, but starting to introduce some of these concepts and vocabulary to them at a younger age. Even just the Common Sense Media has great ones that I wish they had had by 3rd grade, so they could be on the same page. So that would be good.
Yeah, and we have, and then for 3-5, we have parent outreach, but I think that's a goal for our whole district, is just helping parents with navigate a lot of this. So something that's on our radar, and then obviously to continue to develop and adapt our lessons. And same with 6-8, is just to really build on their current lessons, but also transfer into the different content areas so they see that this is something you have to be thinking about all the time.
And just a little extra about parent outreach, it's just so important to get parent buy-in because they're the ones who are supplying the medium, and if they're not understanding the risks, and once one child has something and it grows, it's very difficult for parents then to go against that. If everyone's on Snapchat and that's the social way everyone's communicating, to have one child not. So the more that you can get parent buy-in into this, it really helps.
Any questions or things you're wondering?
It's great.
Hopefully this gave you an overview of what's going on right now.
I will just add to it, I just had a great conversation with a couple people today about how we're gonna, next steps maybe in the spring, with what we're looking for is bringing in our community now into how do we connect with our community, and particularly Hartland PD. And so they have a program, and we're looking at the middle school and the possibility of coming in and the effects of what happens if you do X, and also what to watch for. I mean, there's danger out there, not to be scared of it, but to be aware of. And they've got a great program, and so Jeff Gross is working with Hartland PD through, or Eric Gross, not Jeff, Eric Gross. Because I've got two, Eric Gross and Lisa Stromek meeting together to kind of try to figure out how we can bring them into grade levels, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, to have kind of an assembly feel of the cautionary things that they may have to think about from law enforcement. It's just, again, another great community connect piece. So thank you so much for bringing this and doing the hard work to get this in place. What a great job. And I mean, I know because I'm in the building and see, but to have you present it and bring all of this forward, I just kudos to you. Thank you so much for all that you do every day for kids. Really appreciate you.
And I would say we did interviews, and I had 5 or 6 8th graders that I interviewed, and 2 of them brought up digital footprint.
I was gonna say so.
Yeah, I had one.
It was a hot topic in that process that they enjoyed it and remembered, so.
Yeah, I had one that stuck out that they were saying that since the class, they are very aware of what they're posting and making sure they have permission from the people in the picture. And that they're not afraid to ask other people to take down a picture they don't like.
Okay, that's, I mean, right.
And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I'm like, keep doing that, that is so great.
They're
Like,
just snapping pictures like crazy.
yep,
so.
and that's what she said. She goes, I used to not think about it and I would just post it, and then now I think about it. I'm like,
Yes, thank you.
all right, this is great.
And just wait till you get the 3rd graders now and do these interviews when they get to 8th grade. That'll be, I think it'll be a whole new ballgame.
Yeah, it's really impressive being that it's the first year too. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
These ladies have won, and
Gotten a couple
That's
sneak
awesome.
peeks from the 5th graders. Everett will come home and show me every once in a while. I'm like, okay, that looks pretty cool.
Not a lot of your children.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All of you.
Sure. Yes, you may, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking this time.
Yeah, of course. Has Everett looked at the bag? Yeah. He put it in his backpack. It's like a white bag of all these pigeons.
I'll ask him this.
All right, next we'll move on to transportation.
Transportation. After 3 years of a lot of work and a lot of time and energy, I am happy to say that we have come to a next step in our transportation here at Hartland-Lakeside. just for a little bit of history, as you know, if in case people aren't aware, I do think it's important to go back and give that little history lesson. We recognized early on that there are people riding the bus and we had hazardous zones, but we didn't have the paperwork for the hazardous zones, and so we had to kind of take a look at that. We got that in place and we made some decisions. And then we had, we're starting to look at the contracts and trying to figure out, well, how did we get where we are? And we're sharing buses. We've got this shuttle situation out here, and we're the last tier, and we're starting later, and we're getting out later. And how did this happen? And then the shuttles really became our primary focus, trying to no longer have that safety concern out there. And so we started going to the table and asking, how can we fix this? What do we need to do? And everybody at the table, and I say the table, I mean all of the feeder schools at Arrowhead all sitting at the table having the conversations. And it's like, well, we've done this for 20 years. This is where we're at. And I'm like, well, it's not really working for us. And so we've got to figure this out. And so we continued to work, and then we had the incident in January, and then Chris and Matt got involved with the busing company, and we started taking a look at things, and that's when we started to discover that things in the contract and the agreement maybe weren't completely tied together. So we take it back, and Arrowhead's the fiscal agent of the contract, so they have a lot of authority over the contract that maybe wasn't recognized previously. And we have 7 other feeder schools, and the way the tiered systems work, everybody, some were happy, some were not. Well, we're back to that. Some are happy, some are not. What I will say is I'm worried about Hartland-Lakeside. I am encouraged and excited about the opportunity that we now have in keeping our children safe. And I know that I have families out there who don't ride the bus because they are afraid of that shuttle, because they don't want to have that transfer. That shuttle and transfer will not be there next year. We are no longer going to have that as a situation. We also are looking at a split time start and stop for North Shore Middle School against kindergarten through 5th grade. We don't have that solidified at this time, but it won't be later than we are currently, and it will be earlier than we are currently running, but I can't quite tie us down to a time yet. I'm thrilled. I'm pleased for Hartland-Lakeside and the opportunities that we have moving forward. So to everybody that came to the table on a regular basis and kept looking at where we were at, Patrick did a great job of just putting kind of some of that pressure on. He went out to bid, got an RFP for a whole nother busing company, and we were ready to go and try to figure that out and what that was going to look like for our district. And all around the table, this is great news for Hartland-Lakeside. So I just wanted to share that excitement tonight and just be proud and happy of how we move forward. Next month, I wanted to give us some space. We've got some decisions to make as a board, but I want to be able to make sure that, particularly Morgan and Matt, that I'm able to give you that historical information. Our other 3 board members have been here and we're part of kind of all of that decision making, but I'm not sure that you're up to speed entirely on what has been done. As spectators, you remember kind of how some of that went, but I'm going to really dial that out, and Patrick and I are trying to get some numbers yet from Dousman on ridership and cost and all of that. So look for that over the next couple of weeks so that we can dial that in a little bit so this doesn't become such a large conversation. Okay, do you have any questions about the transportation? I'm thrilled. It's been a lot of work. A lot of time.
Getting rid of that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is amazing, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable to do, but celebrating the fact that we're not gonna have kids at that transfer point and eliminated, great job, and way to bulldoze and get in there and make sure the kids were first.
Yeah.
And all those.
Yeah, that's what it's about, right? It's always got to be about the kids first. Look at the back of your placards, right? Kids first, always. So.
Just a quick note of thanks to you, Matt Schwab, and Chris for starting the work in the past. You guys really did do a lot of the foundational work in the beginning, and you hear this now and you hear the good news, and you recognized a lot of people that did it, but I want to recognize you as well. You guys put in a lot of time last year in really setting the foundation for us and understanding and getting your arms around even where things were. And had you not taken that on last year and helped and really dug in with Tina, I don't know if we'd be where we are. So I want to just thank you for all your work. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, anything else, transportation? Great, that's good news. Summer opportunities.
Summer opportunities, so I know we've let people know what the dates are. I will tell you again right now what that looks like. June 15th through June 26th are our first 2-week session. Then we'll be off the 29th through the 3rd for the holiday. And then we will run July 6th through July 31st for the last two-week sessions. Very similar to previous years, we will run at North and at North Shore Middle School. We're just putting together some more classes, the class sheet, getting the teachers signed up so we can kind of make sure that we know what we're offering. We are looking at a little bit of a twist in leadership. We have some up-and-comers in our district, and I really believe in growing your own. So we have some teachers who are looking to become administrators at some point in their career, and so they are going to have the opportunity to do some leading and some leadership work over the summer in summer school. So I'm really excited about that. We just met about that again today as well, and Dave and Heather and John are all looking at the list and trying to put things together. On an aside, it does also look like we will potentially be hosting the band camp here at North Shore Middle School this year, so over the summer. So looking at some opportunities to build revenue and create some spaces for kids outside of our district even. So more to come on that, but it's coming, I promise.
Is band in August?
It will be in August, yes.
Awesome.
We don't have that date set yet.
Totally
That's
fine.
historically.
Is summer opportunities going to be Monday through Friday?
Yep, Monday
Okay,
through
'cause
Friday.
I know that was one thing that
It was, we checked the attendance on
Okay.
that and it was a wash, so we
Okay.
thought, no, we're gonna let kids be here, cause we know the role that we play also outside of enriching children's lives with
Yes.
wonderful educational programming. We
Sometimes you wanna take
understand
that class for 5 days.
Yeah.
So, it's good stuff.
When will the summer school stuff be posted?
Well, we'll have the classes on Monday, we've got teachers will be starting to sign up for what they're going to be teaching. Sign-ups don't usually come out until right after spring break in that time, but at least we'll be having an idea of what the classes are going to be and what we'll be able to offer.
Awesome.
And I think just having the dates out there is really helpful this year
Yes.
too, so thank you for doing that.
Yes, yep, no problem. I will just add on to this, this whole conversation about where we're at with what we're doing here in Hartland. That piece of 8th grade that we did, we're creating a video montage, and that's gonna be our kickoff to our open enrollment campaigning. So that's gonna be just the big first start of it. And then each of our building principals are going out to their buildings and they're going to be we're gonna try something different, right? More like commercials and video montages of what makes us different, what sets us apart, and how we don't focus on one specific destination in our future. We are really locked in and focused on the whole child and making sure that our 8th graders can go anywhere that they want to forever for the rest of their lives. We're not tied into any one space. And that's gonna be really our big focus going forward in our campaigning, because I think we're doing K-8 as good as anybody can do K-8 here at Hartland-Lakeside. So I'm really proud of our work. So just so you know that's coming.
Great, thank you. That's great news. Okay, on to Director of Business Services report.
Monthly financials, at Finance Committee, we discussed a lot of our typical business, but as Matt alluded to, there are some things that I do wanna share with you guys. But before I do so, we continue to be in a very, very solid position financially, even with the timing of cash flows in education. We don't have an issue with having to short-term borrow to meet any of our obligations. We're again, I can't reiterate it enough, we are in such a nice position to be able to have that ability. Although not on the report, in January, we did receive some of our property tax proceeds, so it's really our first material cash flow in of the year. Other than some transit aid that we receive. So that really does help us because we get a big chunk in January and we continue to earn a fair amount of interest on that, which helps us in what I'm about to address. So no, it's what we need to kind of share out. But just to give you guys some numbers, operating checking, we ended December Our operating checking was about 316,000. Operating savings, about 2.94 million. The capital improvement plan savings continues to grow, 1.76. And then our North Student Activity Account, it's about 11,000, as I shared with Matt and Morgan. That's actually much lower now because it was inflated for a little bit because of a fundraiser they did here at North Shore Middle School, and that account kind of acted as a clearinghouse. Quick Trip fundraiser, so as funds were collected from students and then distributed off to Quick Trip, that was kind of the account that they utilized. Plan there is we much rather have that account be compromised than any of our operating accounts. So we kind of earmark those ancillary small accounts for things like that when we have to use them. So overall, that puts us at about 5 million as far as the cash position goes. So again, very, very solid. The second thing I do want to discuss is some of the unanticipated costs that we've had on the special education side of things. And really, they center around alternative placements and transportation to those alternative placements for some of our special education students. We do our very, very best here at Hartland-Lakeside to provide and meet every student's needs here within our own district. But just like you see your primary care doctor and sometimes you have to be referred to a specialist because your primary care doctor is just not able to meet some of those needs, same thing. When we can't meet the needs of a student, I wish Lisa were still here because she works tirelessly to find, one, how can we best meet the needs of the students here? And if we can't, what's the most appropriate placement for this student to meet their needs? And we've had a few of those this year. Because of that, it's probably gonna result in some budget revisions. Now, the good news is when we went out and we did our budget for benefit costs, we had a fair amount of new staff, and because we didn't know what their exact elections were going to be, we budgeted them all for the highest cost family plan. So right there, we were able to realize some savings and move some of those dollars around, or will be able to move some of those dollars around. In addition, the district took an innovative approach when they put together this Family Advantaged Health Plan. Really, the short of it is, it's a way for the district to not only save costs, but provide ultimate benefit for families. So it's an incentive for our employees, if they have access to other insurance, let's say a spouse has insurance, to take their coverage to their spouse's plan, and then we will cover their out-of-pocket costs through that Family Advantage Health Plan. We've had several more employees take advantage of that when their spouses had open enrollment. So they've had an opportunity to leave our plan, join their spouse's plan. That also has freed up significant dollars. So when we go to actually look at things, about $75,000 in costs for these alternative placements has already been minimized to about $60,000 of budget impact. So a significant, and I continue to go through, I've gone through 1,100 lines of budget. So, and just making sure that we're allocating the dollars in the best way possible. Another thing that we're gonna do is I am reevaluating our grant budgets. The reason being is we talked a lot about when we passed the budget, how we had some good news from the state on how special education reimbursement was going up. Well, there's eligibility rules for what they will reimburse for and what they won't reimburse for. One of the things they don't reimburse for are alternative placements and travel to those alternative placements. So what I've done is I'm in the process of moving a bunch of items off of our flow-through grant, which is our largest grant, moving them off of that grant because those costs are eligible for reimbursement, and then moving out all our alternative placement costs and transportation costs onto the grant. So it's just another way to maximize dollars and figure out how do we make sure that the items and in my world, those are all 19 costs, just because that's the project code, so that's the way I think about them. How do we make sure that we can get the maximum reimbursement and also utilize our grant dollars the best way possible? So when we talk about budget revisions, I talked a little bit about this with Matt. In the past, common practice in districts and what had been done here is we can do budget revisions within the business office to kind of day-to-day stuff like moving grant dollars around. And then in May or June, I will bring you a summary of those revisions. If there's any material changes, obviously we'll discuss them, and I'll discuss them with the finance committee. But then they'll be approved at that May meeting, because likely there'll be more movement on grants, which is very, very customary, because if things aren't getting spent that are budgeted for in the grants, I'm gonna move costs that I know have already happened onto that grant so that we maximize those dollars. So I just wanna put that on your radar, that those revisions are a very normal part of the process. It's not as if they don't occur, they occur every year in every district. Sometimes there's 20, sometimes there's 50, sometimes there's 5. So that's kind of the process that I'm working through right now, to make sure that we can allocate those dollars as judiciously as we can. So I mean, really, that's the thought process behind it all. Does anybody have questions about kind of some of that, in generality, what we're trying to achieve and some of the actions we're taking?
So with what you're moving around, and I hear you're saying we might have to pull from a budget, where are you thinking there's a shortfall from what you're moving to what that would be?
Not one bucket from another, like, so the budget is pretty fluid, right? And but I don't think that we're taking it from savings or anything at this point.
No.
Right now, it's just a matter of, like, let's say I run the curriculum budget, and let's say that we have 20,000 extra in that curriculum because we didn't need that resource or whatever that may have been. We'll pull that 20,000 to put it over into this other pocket. It's not taking money from any savings bucket unless
No, the only area, like Matt did allude to, so big picture, based on what my analysis I've done so far is, we basically had about $175,000 of unanticipated costs for these placements. That has been minimized to about a $60,000 budgetary impact by these cost savings that we found. So if the year ended right now, my recommendation to you guys would be to say, instead of putting $300,000 or $400,000 into Fund 46, let's reduce that by 60 to balance the budget.
So for next year, not necessarily this year, that would be, or this year at the end.
No, like at the end of the year.
Instead of like the $400,000, it'd be $320,000.
Yeah, so
you said a lot of doom and gloom, so I'm just trying to match it. It's not as much as I thought it was going to be there.
No, I mean, I guess there is a silver lining here. And it's just like any personal budget, things happen. There's unanticipated costs, and then you figure out how do we best navigate them, and that's really what we're trying to do.
And I'll go ahead, go ahead, questions. I was gonna toot his horn a little bit. I mean, the cost side was higher when we met a week or two ago. We found some ways to minimize some of the placement costs. And I think the hole was bigger than the cost savings. So I think he's, looking at this line item, he's figured out how to move some stuff around.
Yep.
So.
And then just clarifying, when you start to enter in transportation, I know there's a high budget special ed, so if you go over, was it 30,000 you can apply for, or that doesn't cover any of that either, that's only for the
So you're talking about high cost special education aid?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have 30, if any student represents more than $30,000 in costs, you can apply for high cost aid, which we will also do. Yep.
But you had said earlier that did not include off-site placement or transportation.
So here there's a bunch of buckets. There's regular special education aid. I know that sounds weird.
We get it.
So that's the pot of funds that they're reimbursing effectively at about 38%. Okay. Now there's a separate bucket if you have costs that are in excess of $30,000 for any one student. That comes from a whole different bucket. That's called high cost special education aid. And that's where we can apply and seek reimbursement for costs above $30,000.
So is the 175 over our anticipated amount, a bunch of small under 30,000s?
No.
Or is that 175,
It's
say, a couple or a handful of high dollar ones?
Yes, and so we will also apply for that aid as well for those 4 students.
So then those
It'll
numbers-
minimize it even
Those numbers
you mentioned
further.
would be even potentially
Yes, I don't wanna count the chickens before they hatch, but yes, that's really the route that we're going to go. So
Is the
then-
high cost, is that some sufficient or some certain?
It is some sufficient.
Okay, so we,
Just like the other pot, they say, here's the pot, and we'll see how many people put claims in on it. It works the same way.
okay, so we may, I mean, we could put in for,
Well,
we
we
could
will
have.
get something.
Correct, yes, and what is the typical reimbursement on that, the rate?
I
I
don't have
think
that
I heard,
offhand.
at least in the last one, was 90 is what they expect, but it's usually around 80 when it comes back.
I believe, yeah,
Okay.
that sounds right, but I don't have it offhand,
That's what
so
they
don't
said
quote me.
last night.
Yeah. And it's a special application that I'll be doing here in the next couple of weeks because there is a window that you have to do it within.
Thank you. I'm glad you're budgeting for it without it, and then
Yeah.
having that as a benefit
Yeah,
too, so I appreciate you.
I always wanna be conservative in my estimates,
Thank you.
so.
I think I will offer this piece up too, Patrick is nothing if not transparent. So, I mean, I think that, right, that is something that is about every dime and everything, and so I think that's really important, but I think also sometimes if we don't know, like, I don't know all of the verbiage and all the things that he says, so sometimes it's like, what is happening, right, because he's so open and so clear. So know that the sky is not falling, we are not, right, like, it's
No.
not Chicken Little land, we just are in a place where we've got this happening, wanted you to know that we have this happening, we're managing the situation, and we'll continue to do so in a very responsible way.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, as I spoke with Matt and Morgan about it in Finance Committee, my big question was, where do we wanna pull, if we have to pull funds from somewhere? And I think we kind of collectively come up with, we pull those funds from contributions for future projects instead of anything in this current year. So that would be that Fund 46 transfer that we will approve at some point later in the year. Any other questions?
I guess I just wanted to, the positive of those alternative placements is, I believe you said that those kiddos are improving
Oh,
and are
we're
seeing
getting-
really great results
Yes.
with those
Yes, and we
placements.
have,
So that's a really big positive that you have to look at, that, yeah, it's a lot of money, but these kiddos are doing so much better, or they're on the way.
yeah, no, and we have another student that starts Monday. The placement that he needed is quite a distance. It's in Elkhorn. And this is how creative we've gotten. Lisa and I put our heads together on this. And we got a quote for conventional transportation, or the lowest quote we could get was $461 a day.
Because
So,
of the train.
We were able to hire an employee and we will pay them about $200 a day to transport this student. So, we work with our insurance company, and with legal to make sure everything's liability wise is on the up and up, but, significant savings.
Good job.
So,
Yeah, good job.
I'm really
yeah.
glad that worked out.
Yeah, it did, and I mean, it the best possible solution for what could have been a very, very expensive solution. But it's what the student needs. Yeah.
And I think exactly at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to those.
And the goal with that student is to get that student closer to home, because eventually they're gonna have to access services, and really those services are on a county basis, and so the goal is to get them closer to home, but this is the placement that was available when they needed it, so. The second thing on my agenda,
Bless you.
unless you guys have more questions. Okay, capital improvements. I will again sing the praises of Greg, our Director of Building and Grounds. He continues to work short-staffed. We've had more turnover on his team than we'd like to have, and he's been kind of running double duty. Because of that, some of the improvements that he would otherwise be handling right now have got put on the back burner. Him and I have been working, we are going out for bid on all of our paving projects, which will be, here at North Shore Middle School, we'll be doing all of the playground, the service drive in the back, all the paths, and the blacktop around the basketball court, as well as the path between North Shore and the elementary. And then at both North and South Elementary, we will be doing their playground blacktop as well, which is a full replacement. We don't know exactly if we're gonna have to bring in base or not, so they'll determine that. But we're putting together RFPs right now, and we're going out to bid and having quotes back sometime in April. So April or May, depending on when the snow melts. So we're trying to, they typically have to get out here to be able to survey and assess and give us a good quote. So we're putting those together right now. We've also got a draft of our capital improvement plan that we're working on based on the Findorf study. Oh, and circle back, another RFP that we're gonna be putting out in very short order is the commercial dishwasher for North Shore Middle School. We recently replaced the dishwashers at North and South. This one is in dire need. Greg's been putting Band-Aids on it for about 1.5 years now, and the useful life is just, it's seen its better days. That looks like it's in the neighborhood of about $60,000. I never knew a dishwasher could be $60,000, but
When you gotta wash that many dishes, I don't know.
yeah. So, and that includes installation. Installation's quite expensive for those, so, but we're putting that together as well. So there's a lot of activity going on behind the scenes as far as capital improvements go, even if you can't see it. Actually, the one thing you can see is he did an excellent job on the district office bathroom. So he himself, Greg just finished that, so if Greg, you're watching, I hope you're not, you're doing something fun, but.
Got hot water now there though.
Yes, with hot water, it's great, it's fantastic. The last thing I'd like to share, and it just resulted today, it's not specifically on the agenda, but Yvonne is our on-site food service manager through Chartwells. She would like to come to our board meeting in March and start about the same time, 5:30, and do a kind of an overview of what it is they do, how they put their menus together, and then do a tasting for you guys. She's very, very excited. Yvonne is getting close to retirement. I keep telling her she can't leave yet. She is fantastic. So I'd like to put that on your radar, and so you guys can start thinking about that. But she is so passionate about what she does. And the 80 trays or the 80 countries, 80 trays initiative she just did. I mean, they do stuff like that all the time, and it's just like she goes above and beyond. I can't thank her enough. But yeah, she wants to be able to do a little bit of a kind of informational session for you guys.
Cool.
So, and there's food, so.
Just a quick question back on the ones that are coming out. The dishwasher's coming out of general fund.
Yeah.
And then the pavement, is that coming out of general as well, or is that gonna dip into the?
Well, it'll be paid for by Fund 50, but it will be covered by a transfer, so it's like.
So it comes out of 46 back into general.
No, it's about 46.
It'll really come out of 10. Because 10 will be transferred to 50.
Paving, sorry.
Yeah. And all the paving is budgeted for. These are current dollars. These are not Fund 46 dollars. We're not touching anything in Fund 46 right now.
50 is food service.
50 is food service. So it'll be expensed to 50.
Sure, but it comes out of general.
But it'll be followed by a fund transfer from Fund 10, yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I had just one question about the paving projects.
Yes.
Considering that they're so big, have we reached out to any of the other districts to see if they are doing any type of similar paving projects within the next 24 months? Reason being, it may behoove us to send an RFP for larger and more if contractors could provide better pricing if they were doing, say, here and Stone Bank
Sure.
next year.
I would be willing, and I will definitely look into that. The only thing that sometimes you run into is, as a district, we have a very specified time window when these projects have to be completed.
Mhm.
So if we go for a really large project, sometimes they're not able to meet those windows. So, but we'll certainly look at it.
Yeah, just as
I'll
a-
reach out, I'll definitely reach out and see what other directors have planned,
No,
other districts
I
have.
appreciate that, that would be
Yeah.
great. Be great.
So that's the last that I had to share, but
Thank you.
mostly good.
Great. Any questions for Patrick? Okay, next, board president report. I only had one thing and then open it up for future discussion items. Some of you heard about this last night. I think Cindy Duco might have mentioned it, and if not, I'm going to say it for the general public, but there's an update on a bill in the assembly called 391, AB 391, and the bill would remove, if passed, the $325 per student increase, but it would start in 27-28. So it wouldn't stop necessarily the funding that we have now, but if the bill did go through, it could affect us moving forward. So
So they wanna take more money away from us.
potentially.
Great use of time.
So that's just something that's happening now. So it's just something that I want people to be aware of, that it's in the assembly now. It's moved through the assembly actually, and is with the Assembly Rules Committee. So it's kind of moving its way through. We'll see what ends up happening. We'll keep an eye on it and report as we learn and hear more. Patrick may even hear about it before we do.
Yeah, I've got a couple of emails that have been shared, so if I know anything, I'll share with you guys.
Thank you. Just when you were talking budgets, I don't know.
Yeah,
I can do it.
it's been on my radar for a little bit now.
So with committee or future discussion items, anything for future consideration that's needed? All right, moving on to future meetings. Just to confirm dates, finance, we have Monday, February 9th at 8:30 a.m. Is that correct?
Check it, I think so.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Okay. PPC, Monday, February 16th at 9:15 a.m.
Going all out, so we have that right after the board meeting, right before the board meeting.
And then the school board meeting, Monday, February 16th, 6:30. Do we need to keep that at 6:30 or do we need to move it for any,
Can we move it to 5:30?
what does everybody's schedule look like?
Can we keep that one at 6:30? Just because we're meeting earlier today.
Oh, come on, Chris.
I'm so sorry.
Ooh, you're gonna look.
Nope, it's good. It's not up to
Alright.
me, we had a conversation, so I just thought maybe everybody else, if that's what we wanted to do or not.
All right,
After that, that's fine.
But March will be 5:30 because of the food.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that
if
will
you want to do a
be.
little workshop ahead of time, yeah.
Good time to start a trend.
yeah, that's right. Okay, and at this point, we'll be moving into executive session. I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn into executive session per Wisconsin statute 1985 1C for considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The purpose of the closed session will be to discuss administrative goals and measurables.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of going into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, thank you. We are now in executive session.
Chris, do you want to sign this? Or do you
Thanks for
want
coming.
Tina?
Yeah, you can.
Is it a project that you're working on or?
Wisconsin badge.
Ah, very cool.
Who was the other gentleman who always showed
Oh,
up?
Ben.
Ben always used to show up.
Ben who?
Oh, Ben,
He hasn't come in
Shop Check.
forever.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen Niels in a while either.
No, it was
We are
Ben.
live.
We are live, all right. Now that we are back and open, I have a motion that the Board of Education of the Hartland-Lakeside Joint 3 School District approve the 2026-2028 employment contracts for the district's administrative positions as reviewed and discussed in closed session with an effective start date of July 1st of 2026, and authorize the board president and board clerk to execute the contracts on behalf of the district.
I'll second.
Oh.
That doesn't matter. Any discussion on the motion on the floor? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion to adjourn meeting at 7:58.
Second. McNulty seconded. Let's just give Chris a second to write it down. 7:58 PM. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, really appreciate it.